everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the anime Akane Banashi Season 1 on Netflix. Let me see. Banashi, yeah. So, I saw this kind of come on, I'm like, alright, let's see what this is going on weekly, and I really enjoyed this one. It gave me an interesting kind of explanation of a form of like Japanese entertainment that I was not really well versed with and didn't even really know about, and it worked very well because you would think it's like, all right, how would you describe this? It's kind of more just, it's mainly a kind of comedy one, but it's got slice of life and dealing with like the issues of everything that kind of goes on with this kind of form of comedy of Rakugo. So let's see here. Yeah, Rakugo, where you pretty much have this performer sitting and telling a story and acting out all the kind of characters and bits and everything that's kind of going on with that. And you'd probably be like, that sounds kind of stupid. Well, it's kind of more of the kind of comedy bits and like the morality tales and stuff that are kind of done with like linking stuff from the past and what's kind of going on now and the present as well. And it's kind of an interesting form. I liked learning about it and seeing what kind of goes on with it and all the different kind of intrigues that happen with it, because we pretty much follow the main character of Akane, as in the beginning we see that she is really into Rakugo because of her father. Now, he was taking, let's see here. He was taking the Shinichi test, which is like going up in a level from like, let me see here. Shinichi rank. There's the apprentice, the Zenza, the Futatsume, and then the Shinichi. So he was a Futatsume, and he was pretty much going on with these 6 other people and trying to do this for this test. But we see that Isho Arakawa, one of the head ones, pretty much expels all of them. And we're not really given an idea of why. And this really affects Akane and really affects her father, because her father then quits Rakugo and becomes a salaryman. He really heavily affected Akane because she loves Rakugo and would like do anything she could to doing it. And we see that 6 years later she has been studying under her father's old mentor, and let's see, Shigama the 6th, Shigama Arakawa. Let me see, yeah. So we see that she's very much trying to get into being an apprentice and trying to do be a Rakugoka. And we see that he pretty much introduces her to his apprentices and gets to kind of learn different stuff from them. And they all have these different kind of styles. She at first goes on, and because there was a Rakugo event that the dude was running late, and her just kind of like doing it and kind of seeing how she kind of worked into it, and then it's like, oh, not bad up there, as he then gets on, and we see that he is studying under Isho. It's like, okay, how's this going to work with you, man? And what are your kind of objectives? Because we see Isho is very much heavily trying to keep the art form alive the best way he believes to, very much going up and being as like this rock hard pillar, and he's not softened, but we see him not as hard as when he kind of expelled Akane's father. So it's like, all right, what's your deal here, man? It's going to be a little bit different. What are your objectives? Because we see they're even different than towards the end of the season, this kind of Rakugo Federation that's kind of going on. So it's like, okay, he's kind of positioned himself as the kind of old guard and trying to revitalize and keep Rakugo alive and kind of interesting. Even though watching this, I'm like, damn, I wish I had known more about this, because this is pretty kind of cool to see people do all these kind of things, because we see Akane's kind of style get defined and refined throughout this kind of season, as at first she kind of does the kind of rote memorization. You see her saying the words and everything and doing and affecting the voices, but she doesn't understand the stuff behind it. As she then kind of gets in with the rest of them and starts to learn about it. Let me see. Koji. Let me see. Like, his seriousness when he's doing his Rakugo is really kind of what amplifies his comedy. You're like, he's doing it serious? Yes, but to like such a degree that it makes it funny. And seeing how he's able to do that in the kind of elderly home that they are kind of working at is pretty nice. and seeing that Akane is pretty much working at this other place to learn the lessons of being attentive and learning what the customers want helps to refine her, like, what is my audience? Who is my audience? How can I best serve them? How can I best relay these stories and try and make them laugh and make them kind of forget what's kind of going on in the world? Let me see. And then there's a Koguma, he really gets into the research and goes into the vast kind of details. And it's a different kind of Rakugo than the serious kind of one that's going on. And the funniest bit is that we get the teacher and Akane being like, I want to be a Rakugo. It's like, the thing is, she's like, no, you're not. You're going to go to college. We'll do this. But the thing is, she has a reason for that because she tried previously to help a student and he tried to be a comedian and he just couldn't make it, and she feels bad for encouraging him to follow his dreams and it failing out and him just working part-time and just being like, oh yeah, whatever, because you saw him on the news. But then we see that this is different for Akane. She's gonna do this shit and fucking be a Rakugoka no matter what. And then seeing the teacher learn that and become like one of the biggest kind of cheerleaders for it. Now, she's not completely like crazy ass shit banners and everything, but she's very much supporting Akane and seeing and learning about Rakugo of like, she's good, and seeing her memorize like a Jugemu. And we see that there's this Karakou Cup. And let me see, it's Karakou Cup, right? Where am I? Yes, the Karakou Cup. Where, let me see here. Learning all this kind of stuff, going into the Karakou Cup, going against all these kind of people, and learning all this stuff, and synthesizing all the stuff that she learned from the other apprentices. She's like, damn, she's not just doing this, how she learned to utilize Jugemu and do it in both instances, because this was her chance to win this thing and get to Isho Arakawa and find out why he expelled everybody. And seeing her be able to do Jugemu in one instance and then completely flip it to understanding and still doing Jugemu, but where she pretty much almost disappears. And I love that we then see the anime shift, because the anime is beautifully done, but then we shift to actually the story with her doing the different kind of voices. And you're just like, damn, we are listening to this story, and it is doing pretty good. And Isha's like, you know you don't belong here, right? Because it's an amateur one. We see voice actors kind of doing stuff here and everything, and everybody's like, okay, she's like the wild horse that pops out and gets everything and pretty much says that she shit on all these people. And then she does get her sit down with Isho and saying that, like, he shouldn't have let her father go through because of his nervousness, because the crowd was just babying him or whatnot, and to keep the form good and alive, they need people that are good at Rakugo. It's like, yeah, but like if you're nervous, don't go kind of nutty on him, man. Jeez. And there's only like 12 episodes in here as we're like kind of getting through this, and we see that the teacher is down for doing all this kind of stuff. She graduates, and we see the other apprentices having a party for that. That one's kind of funny because the serious guy gets drunk accidentally and kind of starts going kind of nuts, and they start teaching dancing and everything like that, and all these other kind of bits, because she's now graduated and she's going to be a Rakugo apprentice. And it's kind of cool to see the master kind of going around Shigema, kind of reminiscing on stuff and trying to think of Akane's stage name. And Akane actually asks him to not give her a complete stage name until she kind of like beats Isho at his own kind of game. And he kind of had the same idea as well, as they then celebrate her graduation. And it was also kind of funny because she had other support as well. Like this one dude was like, shit, yeah, you should be a Rakugo and everything like that. And seeing her win the Karakou Cup and him taking his stuff to heart, and seeing her friends being like, you did this, I want to do my stuff too. Where one wants to be a hairdresser and one wants to be into like her art and everything like that. It's like, cool, do that stuff. She's inspired people. She's like, no, you don't have to do that. She's got like a fan club, and she's like, stop, I don't want to take selfies with people. As they're kind of like just like on a level that she hasn't really thought to handle yet, which was very interesting to see her kind of get to that point, because she didn't give a shit about that. Like everybody else, you could kind of see have other kind of motives and motivations for what they're attempting to do. She loves Rakugo and pretty much just wants to kick Isho's ass for what he did to her father. And then we see that this federation of Rakugos are with Shigama Arakawa there as well, and other kind of ones is being like, all right, what's Isho kind of doing? And we also see another female Rakugo. We saw them in the Karaku Cup, but we hadn't seen any kind of bigger, like headmaster kind of ones. And we see one in this kind of federation. It's like, all right, what's going to be going on here? So I liked learning about this art of how they utilize these kind of plays and just talk about all these different kind of things and how they kind of are able to relate them to their different audiences and learn different kind of things about it. Like Jugemu, we learned from the heavily researcher one, Koguma, that originally the son dies in that kind of tale because the whole thing was that this father wanted to have the most kind of blessings on his son. So he gave him this long fucking ass name. And the thing is, in the original one, because of the long name and because of this thing that was supposed to be done to give him like the best fortune possible, the kid dies because trying to relay his name and trying to figure out everything lengthened such stuff out that they couldn't get to him in time to save him from drowning. However, in the ones that Akane does, she gets to the end and he's like, I had to save myself because it was taking everybody so long, which just gets everybody laughing and everything. And it's really kind of cool because the hardest kind of bit would be to showcase the differences in moods and how the telling of the stories is done. But I think that was achieved pretty well here because we'd seen the other Rakugo contestants in the Karaku Cup pretty much amping people up so they were at a really big high, and seeing her be able to kind of like see what's kind of going on and just melt away with her performance and get everybody in a nice kind of state where even we see this reporter dude with his other kind of helper kind of on. She was more into the voice actress one, but she's like, wow, she's actually really kind of good because they kind of are in a nice kind of lull and not as boisterous and just everywhere the energy wise with what's kind of going on with them. And it's really showcases how good she is and also sets up her rivalries with the voice actress one and this one dude who's like won all these different kind of ones with his newer kind of age style ones where he tries to relate it more to present day and changing up how the kind of stories go, but still retaining their kind of core essence without going kind of complete nutty on it. So I would definitely recommend this if you're like, okay, you have to be more into comedy. There's no battle. There's no giant kind of lore world building. But there is a nice world, a nice plot, a nice understanding of the characters. It's very character-driven and comedy-driven. To understand these characters and understand why they're doing stupid stuff sometimes and why it's funny and what's kind of going on here. I really enjoyed this and wasn't expecting it. And I would definitely recommend it to a lot of different people. There's not a lot of crazy-ass shit where it's like, blood, guts, and gore, or like, holy shit, there's tits there. Like, sex out of nowhere, where it's like, what? No, this is more of the safe kind of one. That's more slice of life, slower. Even though you're getting into, like, tournaments and stuff like that, that you're getting in, like, it's not complete, like, pulse pounding where you're like, fuck, man. But, yeah, it's really, I enjoyed it, and if you didn't, that's quite alright. So those are my opinions on the season. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.